think a lot of people have misconceptions about playgrounds. They think they're just safe, innocent places for kids to have fun. It's fine though, maybe you just don't have kids or you haven't been on a playground in a while, so I'm going to remind you what playgrounds are really like. First off, playgrounds are basically kid prison. My teacher wasn't stupid. She knew everyone wanted to go to recess, so once she got us all in there, she just shut the gate behind us, and before we knew it, we were trapped in a multicolored wood chip wasteland. You pretty much had to wet yourself to get out, and most days I wasn't willing to take that chance. But I soon found out that I had bigger issues to deal with. The playground wasn't open for everyone. There were clubs and cliques, and they each had their own turf. Monkey bars? Sorry, that's milk carton mafia territory. Swings were usually home to girl gossip sessions. I don't really know who owned the merry-go-round because it was usually just like a blur with kids flying off every once in a while. And of course, the number one premier spot were the slides at the center of the playground. But that was reserved for the kids who would go on to be the popular crowd and, the overall suppressors of my self-esteem in high school. That left me with the other socially challenged kids' property, the wooden fort on the outside edge of the playground that looked like it had been built in the 1600s. I wasn't exactly thrilled that my only protection looked like it used to be a part of the Mayflower, but I was tired of getting assaulted whenever I tried to play a game of tic-tac-toe. I remember at some point we became obsessed with like collecting pine cones, and not like the brown crunchy ones, not like the hard undeveloped green ones that we had to like get on two other kids' shoulders just to reach and pick off the tree. I thought it was a little weird, but I knew most of those guys were probably packing sports from the cafeteria, so I kept my mouth shut. But it wasn't until later when I saw three kids getting carted off to the nurse because of pine cone lacerations, I knew these guys weren't messing around. These pine cones were the perfect weapon. You could fit like 10 of them in your pockets, and then you wait to the perfect moment, you could throw them like halfway across the playground like a bunch of little spiked miniature footballs. And for a bunch of nerds, we were surprisingly accurate. We got so good, I even heard talk we were going to storm the slides and try to take the populars down. Unfortunately, that was about the time our teacher noticed there were gang wars going on every day after lunch in the playground. On the one hand, I was happy that she was finally breaking up the playground hierarchy, but on the other hand, that made it harder for us to stay in a group, and I was afraid some of our more resentful pinecone victims might try to throw a few pine cones of their own. I might have spent the rest of the year hiding under the gazebo, but once they publicly denounced pinecone throwing over the loudspeaker, I thought it was, safe to actually go out again. I'd just like to take this moment to address whoever designed playground equipment. There's a special place in rush hour traffic for people like you, like 5 o'clock behind a garbage truck in a construction zone traffic. Some of my most traumatic childhood experiences happened on playground equipment. Like I said, the merry-go-round was pretty much a spinning wheel of carnage. If you stayed near the center, you're okay, but if you get pushed to the edge or you get your leg caught in one of the bars, best case scenario, you're getting a mouthful of sand. And the high bars, I don't know if they thought we were professional gymnasts or squirrels, but those things were like the Olympics on steroids. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's let kids with short attention spans and little to no arm strength climb up these 10-foot metal poles. They'll have a great time. Needless to say, I saw multiple broken arms because of those bars. Oh, and swings were the worst. It took me half the time to just get going, and the other half of the time I was either falling off, ripping my shorts, or hitting the person next to me. One day someone showed me like you twist a swing around and you can let go and spin really fast. It was pretty fun until one day someone was doing it and the chain snapped, ending their fun and possibly their mobility. But the most painful, lawsuit-inducing spot in the playground was definitely the slides. Yeah, I know, the place I thought was going to be the most fun actually turned out to be a screaming death trap of horror. There were two different types of slides. Metal. The metal ones, parents, if you want to cash in on your health insurance, I would definitely send your kids down one of these. The whole thing is burning hot metal, so no matter which way you tried to sit, you couldn't avoid having some part of your body being exposed to the heat of 1,000 suns for at least 3 seconds, which could literally scar you for life. And as bad as those were, I think plastic slides may have been worse. Personally, I believe that they were designed specifically with child torture in mind. I mean, they were made of plastic sections connected by metal bolts, So you would go down and build up a stack of electricity, and each bolt you hit would be like a billion volts going to your body like 5 or 6 times. You can't tell me that's not the work of an evil genius. A lot of times I would get stuck up at the top of the slide trying to make my decision whether I wanted my punishment to be fire or electrocution, and like kids would get mad, hurry up. Hey, this is a life or death decision. Just give me some space. So anyways, I hope this was informative for you, and the next time your kid comes home with pine cones or third-degree burns, don't call the police. They're just having fun.